What's going on, gamers? Huge confirmation here, as Jason Schreier was telling us last week, as I've been telling people too. PlayStation games are not going to be going day and date to PC. And man, here it is, straight up. And not only that, but what they thought was coming, right? You got people sitting there. Sony pulls back on PlayStation games on PC. Yeah, they pulled the plug. It was an experiment. Yeah. So they're going for that identity chase, which is correct. Um, Online games, Marathon and Marvel Tokon will be released on multiple platforms. But those games make sense. Definitely games like Marathon. Marvel Tokon 2 is a fighting game, but single player games, Ghost of Yotei Saros will remain PlayStation 5 exclusive. Oh man. They scrapped them. And I had that feeling. That's why I was like, nah, I'm getting this day and date. I got my platinum on Ghost of Yotei. I'm getting Saros day and date. And I tell you, I just had that feeling they were going to do it. I knew something like this was going to happen. I just had that feeling that it was an experiment. When you see the results too, how like 99% of the revenue was coming from PlayStation, only 1%. Then when you think about like brand image, Magnus, all that's thrown out the window now. All that mentality is like it was a PC anyways. And people thinking that they're going to come in there. Steam Machine also appearing. Think that the Steam Machine is going to be getting those games like that too. Sitting there, Sony scrapped all of it and said, no, only on my system now. I'm going the Nintendo route. And I've been trying to tell people about that. They just did not want to listen to me. That's crazy. So a lot of people were wrong about that. They thought they were right. And then, nope, they're all wrong. Um, I tell you, so this says a lot. Now, something like Death Stranding, that was Kojima's game, so this makes sense. We got an article about Bloomberg that we're going to get to and fully read this. We got some comments to get to as well. So now Sony is basically prepping to make PlayStation uh, a fully exclusive platform. They got the technology now. They got PSSR 2. Things are getting crazy here. And it's about to get even more crazy because this changes the whole game about the direction that they're going. And it's pretty much just cans down everything uh, for the Magnus as well. Because you thought you were going to get that and then sneak up underneath there and then pull Steam on there and just grab the games. It's all shut down now. Who knows if they'll pull those other games off that are on there as well too, right? Damn, that gets crazy. So that means for the PS6, Sony's going to be preparing all the PlayStation 5 games to get cross-generation versions on PS6. And some games are going to be probably cross-gen day one, and there's going to be straight PS6 exclusives. And they're going full-blown Nintendo route. And that's going to make the game very interesting because now Steam's going to have its own ecosystem, which it's doing. And it's going to be competing with its exclusives if it's going to have any, like Half-Life 3 against PlayStation. Nintendo and Sony going to be having their own exclusives like that. And this makes the game pretty damn interesting. So now we know PS6 is going to be looked at differently now. It's not going to be to where you have this mentality where, oh yeah, don't worry, I'll wait for that to come to PC anyways. It's only going to be in that system. That is interesting. I want to see what people think about this down in these comments, and I want you guys to let me know what you think. Game Boo says, man, see you in the complete edition on PC in a couple years. So the problem with mentalities with people like that is that you always think that that's going to be the case. They just said they're not doing that. Choosing console sales over games will end up being a mistake in the long run. No, it's not, because they had already showed it. See, this is where people like that and with the mentality can't do math. It's like, dude, it was at best 1.2%, 1.3% over 4 or 5 years. It was a failed experiment. You failed. PC gamers failed. You didn't support, and you also tried to pirate a lot. That's your problem, nobody else's. Just like when we were talking about if Astrobot didn't do good on PlayStation, if people were thinking it, right, because it was a Game of the Year game, it should have probably sold 10 million, right, or something. Usually Game of the Year games do way better. It's because you didn't support the game enough. Same thing for these games that came to PC. You didn't support them enough. The experiment failed. Sony's saying, oh, don't need you. And that's exactly what happened. So don't sit here and try to blame them. When they did what you were complaining about for years back in the PS4 era, you got to get their games and you didn't support them enough. Shut up with that crap. It's your problem. David, PC fanboys right now, pretty much. Because they have fanboys too. Like I say, a fanboy's a fanboy no matter what platform. You didn't support it enough. So you're being ignored now. You had the opportunity. That's not their fault. That's your fault. Oliver Darko, the PlayStation single-player PC experiment ends. It's exactly what it is. It's an experiment. So, I mean, it's over now. You had the opportunity. It didn't work. It's not worth the investment of damaging the brand and the identity for a 1.7% gain. When I'm making 99 something percent, no, I can just strengthen back my ecosystem and I'm going to be fine. King Silly Joy says Sony really looked at PC gamers and said, we are keeping the absolute masterpieces for ourselves, but please, we are begging you, take our live service multiplayer games. Because live service is different. You want the community to be alive as much as possible. I don't see them ever dropping live service. And I said small titles like Kena, or maybe a game like Marvel where it's online, that makes sense. But we're talking about single player tempo. Why would you need to if you're already seeing the results? No, keep that identity. You have to have an identity. So Sony doing that is doing exactly what I said. Listen, guys, when you look on the top of the market cap, number one right now has been Nvidia. Even when Apple was number one, where does Apple share anything other than Apple? Apple is all about Apple. Nvidia is all about Nvidia. You see what I mean? AMD is all about AMD, though they're not in the top like that. Microsoft is all about Windows and cloud. You see what I mean? Nintendo is all about Nintendo. You look up there, Google is all about Google and YouTube and Gemini. They all have their identities. When Disney was rolling around, Disney was all about Disney, though Disney's still up there. But you see what I mean? Amazon is about Amazon stuff. If you keep on looking at that, it's identity power. And I think Sony is now starting to realize how important that is. Nintendo Power shows you that, right? When we're talking about video games, when you think about Marvel, Marvel is only Marvel. You see, they're not anything else. And the best in the world are always like this. So they've learned their lesson, and now they're getting ready to make PlayStation only. Hey, competition is getting tough, so get your own games. I'll never play a Sony game again. They don't need you. That's already shown. You can cry all you want. You had your opportunity. Me sitting there crying. Good. They need to make their console worth it. That's what I mean. That's kind of the point. We need stronger identities because that makes the competition more intense now. Now let's see what you can do on your side. Get lucky that I'll let you have my stuff. This is going to piss off all the pieces. Well, what is that going to mean, though? They're still selling 100 plus million consoles. You act like they need to, once again, like you act like this is the thing. You guys overrate PC gaming. And now it's more expensive than anything else on the market. You act like that means something. Like they pull back, like it's not going to hurt them. You've already shown that. Wake up. It doesn't matter anymore. It's like you need to wake up. So yeah, you're just not getting the games. You're not getting Astro Bite. You're not getting Gran Turismo 7. You're not getting Demon Souls. You're not getting Bloodborne Remake. All these games that are not coming. So there you have it. Now going over to the Bloomberg article to see what they're going to be saying. Sony pulls back from PlayStation games on PC. The video game publisher no longer plans to put out PC ports of PlayStation games such as Ghost of Yotei. Sony Group Corp no longer plans to release its big PlayStation 5 games on PC. A major shift in strategy that sees the video game maker returning to console exclusivity after 6 years of flirting with multi-platform releases. Let you have their games for 6 years and you're still crying. I said ungrateful infantiles. According to people familiar with the company's plans, online games such as Marathon and Marvel Tokan will still be released across multiple platforms, but single-player games like Ghost of Yotei and the upcoming X game Saros will remain exclusive. Wolverine as well, stuff like that. That the people who asked not to be identified because they weren't authorized to talk publicly about the company's strategy. The people cautioned that things could change in the future due to the unpredictable nature. I was right this whole time. I've been talking about this last year of the video games industry and that Sony's plans are constantly shifting. But in the recent weeks, PlayStation scrapped plans to bring Ghost of Yotei and other internally developed games to PC. 2 games made by external developers but published by PlayStation, Death Stranding 2 and upcoming Kena, Scars of Cosmora, are still planned for release on PC this year. A spokesperson for PlayStation declined to comment. There are likely a few reasons behind this shift. One is that several recent PlayStation games have not sold on PC, not Sony's problem. A faction within PlayStation has also expressed concern that releasing their games on PC risks damaging the console's brand, like I said, and will hurt the sales of the PlayStation 5 and its successors, PS6. according to the people familiar with Sony's inner workings. For decades, Sony's tactic for selling PlayStations was to keep tentpole franchises exclusive to its own consoles. In 2020, it pivoted and began bringing games to personal computers via Steam. They did their job. They put their games there. You didn't do your job by supporting them, and you tried to pirate as well. How is that Sony's fault? It's not. Grow up. Since then, the company has put most of its biggest franchises on PC, such as God of War, The Last of Us. So basically, this article pretty much hit the nail on the coffin right here. I mean, they put all the biggest games there, but the strategy has been muddled and confused many players. Most PC releases arrived months or years after the games came to PlayStation. The cadence was never consistent, and announcements appeared to be haphazard. The company also upset PC players by asking them to create PSN accounts to access many of the games, but they'll do that for all the other things. Bethesda, Blizzard, you know what I mean? Like all those companies, all they ask you to create those accounts. Warner Brothers, EA, they do, right? Fortnite. Now Sony is looking to take a more straightforward approach. Warframe, however you want to look at it. Elder Scrolls, all of them, they'll do it. Going back to console exclusives. Sony's two rivals in the console space have taken different paths. Nintendo Co. has released almost all of its games solely on its own Switch hardware, while Microsoft has turned into a multi-platform publisher, releasing everything on PC and many games on PlayStation because they don't have a choice. Another factor behind Sony's pivot may be Microsoft's next Xbox, which is rumored to use Windows and be capable of playing PC games. Some executives at PlayStation may not be thrilled at the prospect of one of the company's flagship games like God of War running on the next Xbox console. Though we know that's going to be a PC, but still, it'll have backwards compatibility with Xbox Futures. But once again, that's done. They canned that. You ain't getting their games. So we have the full-blown truth of this now from Bloomberg. It's over. The Magnus is not coming in like that. All that stuff is shut down. Steam Machine is not coming in that way either. That's shut down. And PC's not getting Ghost of Yotei and Saros. That has been scrapped. So it's permanently over. The stuff about Wolverine only on PlayStation was saying a lot. You saw it. The signs were already there. It was saying only on PlayStation. We've seen this, right? It's not an argument. We can go down reading a little bit more. I was really excited to get Saros on PC and PS5. Hey, man. Y'all joked about no games just a little too much. It's actually a funny post. They only doing this because the next Xbox is confirmed to have Steam. Why would Sony give Xbox games for literally nothing in return? No, they're doing that because it didn't work mainly for PC. They're not really threatened about that because that thing is not going to sell. It's going to be overpriced. So you guys kind of have the idea here. I mean, it's pretty much gone. Now, this is a good question. What is going to happen in Nexus, right? We may have to do a different video about that or, just sneak peek in that a little bit. They may keep them around to continue to do games on PCs outside of the single-player tentpole games, like stuff like Marvel Tokan and stuff like that. It is interesting to think about this, though, if they're going to need them as much. Would they pull a Blue Point? Because both of them do a good job. Kind of makes you wonder, huh? Hopefully Sony does not do that because it will not turn out in their favor. But yeah, there it is, guys. I want you guys to let me know what you think about this. This changes the whole game now that we have solidification about this. Sony's really trying to make that identity very strong and compete head to head with Nintendo, knowing that they got in their third-party market share too. They want to make sure that when it comes to the PS6, it gets as much attention as possible because putting their games out, they already saw what happened to Xbox. Not that would happen to PlayStation, but they want their identity to be as strong as possible. And man, here it is, the plug pulled. And I know there's some people that are shocked because they thought this was going to be something that would be permanent. And PlayStation isn't going anywhere. Well, there it is, guys. Like, comment, subscribe as usual. Leave a comment down below and let me know what you guys think. And what do you think is going to happen with Nexus? Do you think that Sony will shut down Nexus? I think they're going to keep them around. And I look forward to what's happening with PSSR 2 around the corner this month. Later, y'all. Peace out. Keep gaming no matter what platform you're on.